Hello my Melbourne friends, welcome to day 7, not really, of 7 of the Melbourne lockdown 4, and I thought I'd do a get ready with me video while I discuss what the potential might be of the upcoming week. There's been no announcement yet, but yeah, looks like we're going into another week of lockdown potentially. So I've gathered a few little things just as I was sort of cleaning out my makeup stuff, and look what I found. I found this. This is the BYS Neons palette. This was the first eyeshadow palette I ever bought, and I used it to death. As you can see, I've ground down some of those colors. So I thought I would try to resurrect this palette one last time and try to do a sickening look with it. But before all that, skincare. I love this stuff here. This is the Rosehip and Jojoba Oil Face Oil, and I think it's actually by Anko, so it's Kmart brand, and it's $3, and it has the most delicious, light, watery consistency. And when I knock that on my skin, it just drinks in. I've used it for years. $3, honestly. If you're near a Kmart, get yourself a bottle because it is bloody terrific. So let's start with eyes, shall we? So I'm going to be using this little base here. It's the P. Louise and Quadruple M Mitchell, whoever the fuck that is, paint base in Nitro. And I know they set down to more of a matte texture, so I do have to work a little bit faster with them. They're pretty good. So I'm just going to take a little dollop. So from what we gather so far, there's not been any news on a lockdown just yet, but rumours are that they might be locking down the Melbourne CBD, which is where I am, and they're going to be doing that for another week while regional Victoria might get away with eased restrictions. So, but really, we just don't know anything here in Melbourne right now. Like, I suppose the authorities don't either, but like, you know, we kind of are just sort of left waiting and wondering until the last minute, and then when eventually they'll just be like, oh yeah, by the way, another 7 days. Woohoo! I quite like this colour. So now I'm going to go in with a little blender, and I'm going to move pretty quickly just before this sets. And I just want to buff those edges out, otherwise I'm going to be stuck with these sharp lines. So I hope you've all been, you know, nice and sane and safe throughout these last 7 days. It looks like we're going in for another. Isn't that a treat? So tell me, how have you found my videos this week? Did you enjoy them? Did you want to see more of them? Because, yeah, I just thought I would see if I could do a 7-day stint, and I did, so tell me if you like it. I reckon I'm going to take a little tiny dollop of this and just do my classic flush under the eyes. I haven't put any concealer or any product on my face except this yet, and the oil. I'm actually really frothing this colour just on its own. Isn't it pretty? Lovely colour payoff. So now we're going to have a go with this Neons palette. Ooh. Now, speaking of colour payoff, this hasn't got it. So, I don't know. I'm going to start by grinding into this leftover purple. And we're going to splash that down onto the lid. Oh yeah, colour payoff's about what to be expected for a BYS palette. Does anyone else think with BYS, their range now, it's really, like, they've got a great selection of products. However, their price point is just ridiculous. Like, I would not be spending, you know, $20 on a foundation that I picked up at Kmart when I could go into a store or a Priceline or whatever and speak to an advisor and get a proper color match. Like, and even when it comes down to their eyeshadows and things, every time I've used one of BYS's eyeshadow palettes, their new ones, I'm bitterly disappointed, and it just makes me wonder, you know, there are better products out there. Sorry to bash you, BYS, but do better. So I love time off as much as the next queen, but yeah, this is starting to get a bit crazy, isn't it? You know, this lockdown could be going for a little while, and I don't know if I've got the mental fortitude to deal with it. How are you all coping with, you know, the restrictions and everything? Here in Victoria, we're not allowed to leave more than 5K. Oh, that's shit. We're not allowed to leave more than 5K outside our home, and we've only got 5 reasons we're allowed to leave. Oh, this orange sucks. It's just in my brow and nowhere else. How did that even happen? Okay, I've been going again and again and again with this shitty orange shade, and it's just given me nothing except the bloody tip of an orange brow. So that's a bit of a fail. How else could you use a colour that has such minimal payoff like this? Probably wet, so I might put that to the side and we'll do that a little bit later. Okay, I kind of need a dark shade. This palette is great for its like neons, but it has no contrast. So I'm going to be using Give a Glam Powder Kiss Soft Matte Eyeshadow by MAC. And I'm just going to use a teeny tiny little bit, so please forgive. But it just needs a bit of depth out here. It looks too flat. Yes, these shadows, these are great. This is the future of MAC eyeshadow right here, this quality. So much better than the OG formulas I used to work with when I worked there. You know what, after all that blending and everything, the only two colours I can see on my eyes right now are the dark MAC colour that I used and the P. Louise base here. I don't see any trace of purple, I don't see any trace of orange. What was I thinking when I bought this palette? Another thing as well is the fallout is just unreal. Unreal. How do I get so much pigment here, but I don't get any pigment upstairs? What the fuck? Okay, we're gonna give this eyeshadow palette one last chance at redemption. I'm gonna be using Light Boost, which is a little yellow banana-y color. This stuff is great at erasing shades. I'm gonna use a little bit just to clean up around the edge of my eye. And I'm gonna take a little tiny bit and I'm gonna essentially cut the crease like this. You know, another thing that I was worried about is now, if we're going to have a lockdown extension, is the potential of my sister. I'm really worried about her having a baby during this time and going into labour. Did I just mix that blue in? I did, didn't I? My sister's very close to going into labour with her first child, and if she has to go into the hospital while Victoria's locked down, that's going to be a bit of a troublesome time, because she will she's not allowed, you know, visitors and things like that. And you know, this is the birth of her first child. You know, it's a pretty big deal. So I don't know. It's going to be a hard one. But you know, obviously we're going to just have to abide by the lockdown restrictions and the laws and la 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 la. But yeah, it's a bit of a shitty situation, you know. All right, I'm not even going to use a brush. I'm going to go now in with my finger, really pick up as much of this orange as I can, really grind into it. And let's just look at the payoff. If I put it over something pale. I'm really stacking it on there, so fallout boy. At least it's showing up. Let's try the pink on this side, just for fun, okay? It's not like I'm going anywhere. So I'm scraping up that pink again, really grinding into it. Yeah, look, I'm getting payoff. It's just there's a ton of fallout. Alright, now to chuck on some liner. This stuff is, I don't even know, Rimmel Glam Eyes liquid liner. Had it floating around in my drawer for about 12 years. Ooh, the brush is thin. Now the secret with doing liner on hooded eyes is not to do too much thickness on the inner corner there. That has to be the absolute thinnest part. Because if I made that inner corner too thick and consistently as thick as the liner above my iris, the eye's going to shut down and you're not going to see any dimension. Now for some garnishes. And now for some highlighter and bronzer. So I'm using Matte Bronze by MAC and Glow Commotion Pink It Up by W7 Cosmetics. Ta-da! There you have it. Ooh, fashion. Watch this eyeshadow look break apart before your eyes. So, I mean, it might be fine because we've got the P. Louise base on underneath, but I think this eyeshadow palette, it's time for it to fuck off. I really should be cleaning up my makeup section, actually. It is unfathomable how much makeup I have here. Like, it's ridiculous. It's more than I'll ever use in my entire life. So that's that. I'm all dressed up and ready to do nothing because Day 7 is going to come and pass and we're probably just going to continue on being in lockdown. So I hope you're all staying safe and fresh and clean and sane, and actually screw the clean. I'm not even showering every day. I totally get it. I'll talk to you all very soon. Hang in there and I love you. Bye.
Ahoy, mateys. Subscribe.